In today's video, I'll be showing you how I created a simple glam. So let's go. So first of all, I took wipes. Of course, you want to clean out any debris or dirt on the face. So next, I'm taking my micellar water. This is Nivea micellar water, and I just use it with cotton wool. This helps to take out any excess dirt, those dirt that may be on the skin but you can't see with your physical eyes. Helps to clean the skin way down to the pores, so makes the skin to be able to breathe well. So now I'm taking my setting spray. This is my Kiss Beauty setting spray, and I'm spraying it all over the face. I'm taking my moisturizer. This process I'm doing is called skin prep, and like I always say in all my videos, in no matter the kind of makeup you're doing, do not skip your skin prep process. So I'm applying my moisturizer, and this just helps to, of course, seal off the moisture in the skin. And here I'm applying my primer. This is my Milani primer. I've had this primer for a while and I discovered, oh my, it's been here, and why not use it? So I'm taking my Milani primer just like as a base primer. So I'm rubbing it into her skin. I'm also taking my setting spray to set it all in. Next, I'm taking my Zickel face primer, and this will just help to, of course, create a barrier between the skin and the makeup, and also help the makeup last longer. So I'm taking it and I'm spreading it across the face. So now I'm using these two foundation. I didn't use only the yellow one because it's way lighter, so I mixed these two together because I wanted it to pop a little, so you can see them. And I'm mixing it. You can see I'm just showing you swatches on her chin, so you can see that these three, this first one is the one I'm going to be using. The second one is her exact skin tone in case you want a much more natural finish. And the third one obviously is not her skin tone. So I'm going to be going with the first one, just should in case of any oxidation on her skin. So I'm setting it still with the setting spray, and I'm going to be setting it. I'm going to be damping my beauty blender with the setting spray. So you want a damp beauty blender. This helps to make your blending process super easy and fast. Okay, I didn't say dripping wet, I said damp. So I usually love to apply my foundation in segments. You can see I'm starting with one of her chin, which is her left chin, and I'll take in as much foundation I want to and blend it all together until that place is well blended before I move on to the next segment. So I'm just blending it in and blending it in. You can always apply your setting spray if you need to make your blending much more easier. So you can see I'm taking another little segment, and I'm doing the same thing. I'm blending it vigorously in. And for me, I usually like my foundation to have this skin-like finish. You can see it's not way different from her actual skin tone, and it blends completely with her neckline. So this is just my thing, and I feel it's what ought to be, rather than using stuff that's not their skin tone. So I'm taking my concealer. This is LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Toffee, and applying it under her eyes to conceal the under of her eyes as well as give it a highlighting effect. So you want to add enough concealer so that you can give it a highlighted effect. If you don't want so much highlighted effect, you can apply small. So I'm also applying on her forehead, on the middle of her nose bridge, and on her jaw. I'm taking my beauty blender and I'm just dabbing it. I'm blending it by dabbing it, concentrating just around the areas where the concealer is being added, and just slightly spreading it out. So you can see I'm just patting it until it sinks into that area. I'm spreading it also. You can also spread it into her eyelids, of course. Then I'm taking a lighter shade. This is the shade Pure Beige, and I'm just applying it in the inner corners of her eye. This is to give it that super, it enhances the highlighted effect. So I'm going to blend it only towards the inner corner of her eyes and not spread it way out, because I like the inner corners of the eyes to be very bright, or to be bright to a large extent. So I'm just blending them all out. So you can see, so I'm taking this foundation, I'm going to be using it to contour her face. So I'm just applying it in small quantity because it is super pigmented. You can use concealer, however the concealer I have of her is not so dark and it's not going to be obvious, so I went ahead with this. So you can see I'm applying it in portions. The reason why I'm doing that is because the foundation dries super fast. So in order for it to not dry and become difficult to blend, I'm applying it in portions. So you can see I'm just blending it with my beauty blender on the cheekbone area, slightly under the cheekbone, on the sides of her forehead, and of course on the side of her nose to give that pointed effect. So I'm just applying it in small quantity, and I'm blending it all the way out. And all this is super easy to apply because I properly prepped the skin. So this is what we have now, and here's a hack that you all should know. You can use your lipstick as a blush. So I took that lipstick and I applied it. So you want to apply it in portions so that the lipstick doesn't dry out and it becomes difficult to blend. So I'm just applying that in portion. So you apply it until desired quantity or intensity. So I'm doing the next to the other part, and I really love the outcome of how it comes out. It's just gives it that perfect blush effect. So I'm just blending it all the way in patting motions, and I'm taking my Zaron highlighting powder. So this is a translucent powder, and if you're wondering what's a translucent powder, the reason it's called translucent is because it doesn't add so much pigment or color to that area. So once you of course blend it out, it's literally almost not there, but it still gives the highlighted effect from the concealer. So there are different kinds of setting powder which comes in different colors. So this is the translucent setting powder, and I'm doing the baking process. Setting is and baking is the same thing, but it's just the process that differs. So baking is more like leaving on the setting powder for longer periods of time, applying more quantity, leaving it for longer periods of time so it can set the concealer so it doesn't move, and also give that highlighted effect to an extent. So I'm doing the brows now, and I'm using my gel liner. So the gel liner comes with this brush I'm using, so I'm just using it to outline. I'm outlining the lower part and I'm outlining the upper part. You want to take this process very carefully and gradually. Of course, before you do the draw your brows, you should have shaved or carved your brows or shaped your brows prior to when you start the makeup. So before you start your makeup, you should have shaped your brows. So I'm just of course outlining the brows just the way I want it to suit the face. If you do not know how to find the perfect shape for your brows that will suit your face, I have a video on that in my videos, and I'll just be leaving the link for you. So you can see I'm applying it in strokes from the inner corner of the eyes to make it look natural, to give it that natural beginning, while I'm filling in the other parts of the brows. I'm doing the same to the second part, outlining it in with tiny strokes from the beginning, then filling the other parts in with my gel liner. So I'm taking my concealer, the toffee, the one I used in highlighting the first time, and my concealer brush. And of course, you want to take this process very gently. You conceal all the way neatly so your brows can have a very neat shape. Okay, so you can do your brows before you start the rest of your makeup, or you can do your brows after you've applied your powder or everything. Just depends on preference and what works for you. But if you are a beginner, I would suggest, if you are still trying to get used to the process, you can do your brows before you do the rest of your makeup, so you can conceal all you want. So you can see I'm concealing and blending out. So because I'm doing my brows just already while I've done a large portion of my makeup, I'm not packing concealer all over. I'm just applying small quantities, small concentrated quantities, just to conceal that portion. Okay, so you don't see me spreading it all the way out, because I've already, of course, done those sides of the makeup, so it doesn't look patchy at all. So you can see me blending it out. You can see me blending everything out. So if peradventure you make a dent or one is smaller than the other, you can go ahead and fill it out with your gel liner, or you can make the other part smaller as you prefer. So I'm taking my eyeshadow primer. This is my eyeshadow primer, and I'm just patting it on the eyelid, because of course we are creating like a simple glam look, a simple classic glam look. This can also suffice for a bridal look, if of course it's a white wedding. So this can also suffice. So you can see that I'm blending and spreading it on the eyelid, and I'm using this stay matte palette, and you can see I'm taking this neutral nude color. I'm blending it all the way to my her crease. So usually your crease is where your the when you touch your lid, where your eyeball, the point of your eyeball, the highest point of your eyeball is where your crease is. So that's where I'm applying it, just to give it that neutral transition. So I'm going ahead to apply white. So I'm using my palm, my fingers this time. So anything works as long as it works for you. So I'm using my fingers because I found out that the fingers helps to, of course, apply more. So I also use this brush to blend it out, and also my fingers, my index fingers too. So now I just applied a little of the translucent powder on the tip of the nose, because I forgot to add that in the baking process. So I'm going ahead to do her lips, and of course I'm lining it with my gel liner. You can do that with your eye pencil or a darker shade of your lipstick. But before you start your lip process, ensure you have prepped the lips by, of course, for me I use Vaseline. So peradventure, if the person has a chapped lips, you want to apply the Vaseline at the beginning of your makeup. So by the time you are doing your lip work, the lip is already soft, is already smooth and ready for work. So I'm just outlining the lips just the way I want it, and I'm using this Huda Beauty red lipstick. It's more like a reddish oxblood pink, thereabout. So of course, I apply a certain quantity and blend it out. So I would suggest you layer your lipstick to give it a much more intense look. However, do not over layer your lipstick so that it doesn't cause your lipstick to be clumpy. So I'm putting the second layer and I am blending it out with a blending brush, just dabbing it out, patting it out. So if you have excesses outside the area where you outlined, you can use a small portion of concealer to conceal it and keep it back in the outline. So you can see that here. Of course, we blended it out. So now I'm taking my shimmer, sorry, my highlighter, bronzer or highlighter. So I'd already applied powder here. I've applied a shade of powder because I was kind of having some camera issues. So I just went ahead to apply the powder while I fixed it. So now I'm applying the highlighter to just give her cheek much more like a highlighted effect in the sun and give it, that bronzed shiny effect. So I'm applying it on her cheekbones, on her forehead, on her nose bridge, and of course you can do on her cupid bow also. So I'm blending that of her nose bridge with a fan brush. Now I'm going ahead to apply, I use the darker shade of my powder in the powder palette with this blending brush to enhance the contouring on the side of her nose bridge, just to enhance the pointed nose effect. So here is the finished look. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, do well to give this video a like, do well to comment what you think, and do not forget to subscribe. Thank you.